We move across to BBC iPlayer next for a new documentary series which is available as a box set from Wednesday the 4th of September. It's called The Zelensky Story, and here's a clip.
For Zelensky, it's an amazing journey.
His voice didn't fit to his size because he was really small.
I was not thinking about any politics.
It made people believe that change is possible.
I think he is the greatest optimist.
It's a three-parter. Don't be put off thinking, oh, it's about the president of Ukraine, politics, so I don't know if it's my cup of tea. It is an incredible story. I mean, you couldn't make it up, this guy's journey. It beggars belief. I mean, some people know that Volodymyr Zelensky, who is now president of the Ukraine, he started out as a comedian and an actor. He did the voice of Paddington for the Ukrainian version of the film. He won Dancing with the Stars. He did a lot of kind of comedy skits and quite a lot of political satire on telly. He was very popular. And then he starred in this series, I think it's called Servants of the People, in which he plays an ordinary man who becomes the president of Ukraine. And then, of course, life imitated art, because he then went on to run for president. And yeah, I mean, you can tell he's not a career politician because he comes across as a very genuine and likable person, unlike the politicians that we're familiar with, who have a completely sort of manufactured persona and they never say anything kind of controversial, or they never really open up. He's just so refreshing, and you can kind of see that's why he massively appealed to the Ukrainian people. And interestingly, initially he was very much like, let's have a dialogue with Putin, and of course now he heavily involved in the war against Russia. But it's an amazing story. He's an incredibly engaging character, and also we get to hear from the First Lady, his wife, who says like the first time she realised he was running for president is when she saw it being announced on TV. So yeah, we see a lot of kind of footage of him when he was an actor, which is fascinating, and we hear from his friends. It's an incredible story, it really is, and this is well worth watching. It's not a boring political documentary. It's fascinating, and I was blown away by it. What did you think, Hannah?
I absolutely love things like this because you learn so much, don't you? I mean, you may or may not have known, as you say, that he started out as a comedian, but I did know that. But what I didn't know, that he was the voice of Paddington. I had no idea kind of the sort of showbiz levels, the dizzy heights of fame that he'd actually reached, to be honest with you, and why I suppose he's such a character and is so liked, I suppose, by Ukrainians. As you say, I think the best part of this is not to be put off by the fact that you think it's going to be all about politics, because as you say, our politicians dance around subjects, and frankly we would prefer the truth, even if it's hard to bear, as opposed to some of the nonsense that's spouted. But it's so direct, isn't it? It's so authentic, it's so refreshing, I think. And his story is really interesting, born to Jewish Ukrainian parents, that kind of his path to where he is today. And, the terrible time that he's now facing too. I found it incredibly interesting. But as you say, do not be put off thinking this is just going to be a documentary about politics. Really, really dull. I think it will, for me anyway, fills in some massive potted history, really increased my knowledge of the situation, and brought him to life as a character, which he clearly is in his own country.